Hi, I'm Rich Starfo, President of Health, and you are watching Taking Stock.
And a very happy Veterans Day, one and all, and a deep note of gratitude to all members of our armed services, past and present. And on this great Veterans Day, we celebrate down you here today and every day, but in a special way here on this Tuesday, November 11th, a team from Academy Asset Management here to celebrate the closing bell ceremonies and celebrate Veterans Day. And on this day here on Wall Street, tech shares somewhat under pressure, though we've had a pretty incredible reversal on the day. At its lows, the S&P 500 had been down earlier this afternoon, 0.3%. It is expected now to end in positive territory. One of those rare days here on Wall Street where the S&P 500 equal weight actually outperformed the broader S&P 500. We're talking a lot about AI news and the overall AI trade on the day. Shares of CoreWeave in focus, the cloud computing giant, down 15% on the day after disappointing guidance. The man himself, the great Jay Woods, is on deck. He'll join us right after the bell to get his take on CoreWeave and broader price action across these markets. As if all of that weren't enough, the U.S. Senate at long last finally passing a funding bill expected to reopen the doors of the federal government here in the next few days. All of that and so much more sets the stage for today's show, and welcome to it. You're watching Taking Stock. I'm your host, J.D. Durkin, just moments away from the ringing of the iconic closing bell. You know what time that is. The team from Academy Asset Management are here. They are fired up. Time now for the closing bell. There we go. I've been down here for a lot of closing bells. This may be the best group I have seen. The crowd goes wild on the show. Celebrating a great Veterans Day and celebrating a broader equities market that is finishing for the tail of the tape in positive territory on this day. We talked about the reversal here at the top of the broadcast. The S&P 500 up 0.2%. The Dow, the big winner, thanks large in part, of course, to Goldman Sachs, the most weighted name in the Dow, finishing up better than 1%. The NYSE Composite Index up 0.7, with the small caps up fractionally as well. Let's bring in Jay Woods of Freedom Capital Markets. He is a CNBC contributor. He's also a Philadelphia Eagles fan, celebrating a win on Monday Night Football. Thank you for being here, as always.
Yeah, I'll take the win. It wasn't really much of a celebratory night.
You know what? A win is a win, whether it's Monday Night Football or the S&P 500. Look at this big board. Look at this reversal. What did you see in broader price action today across the market?
Yeah, staying on theme, I see a lot of Kelly Green, which is a great color, as you know. But what do we see? We saw a little rotation in this market, which is actually something we complained about one of the last few times I was on the show, the breadth of the market, meaning those winners versus losers, a lot of losers. Today, what do we see? Technology, the laggard today, and the technology sector down on the day, but 9 of 11, possibly 10. I didn't get the last final votes tallied as I walked onto the set, but it looks like we had a really good day in the market, something we needed. Now that the shutdown's behind us, we can look forward to how we close out this year, so we're excited.
Where are you situated on the AI trade? Cooling off a bit, catching its breath? What do you make of the kind of up and down we've had as of late?
Yeah, there's a lot of people out there trying to get this AI trade to cool off a little bit, possibly for their own gain. I'm talking about Michael Burry and the Big Short. But what we see, we've seen a tremendous run up. It's been the story of the year, if not the last 2 years, and we're getting a cooling period. Palantir had great earnings, and what did it do? It fell on those earnings, and now it's trying to catch its breath and settle down. We're all going to talk about one stock next week incessantly. That's NVIDIA. That stock was down today about 3% on news that SoftBank, one of their leading and early investors, got out of the position. I don't think that's something to be concerned about, but it is definitely eyebrow raising.
Yeah, of course. Last Friday, we retested the 50-day moving average for, I believe, the second time since April. What did you make of the retest and how markets have responded since?
That's quite astute of you. That is correct. 2 times we've gotten to that 50-day moving average. In fact, this time we eclipsed it briefly on Friday, and then we closed above it. Closing price is more important than those intraday prices. that is a test technically of the strength of the market. Moving averages are used as barometers of health. You have your 50-day, which is going up, the 200-day, which is going up, and we have ridden those averages. We had talked about the 20-day for a while. So we're losing that momentum, but the longer-term chart stays intact. That's very positive as we go into year end. We had that test, a little fear, talk about AI trades deflating. They were able to catch up, and what also helped, as we saw today, Goldman Sachs leading. Yes, I own the stock, I work there, but I have to disclose these things. Sorry, JD. But we have seen other sectors start to take the lead here, and that is positive as we close out 2025.
I got a lot I want to ask you about, but the Supreme Court tariff case, not something I've gotten to talk a lot about with people here on the show. Do you have a sense that has the power maybe to reset the market? They heard arguments this week. We just don't know how the justices are necessarily going to rule.
That is the X factor as we close out this year, going to the next year. We don't know exactly when that ruling is going to come out. I don't know how the Supreme Court, if they rushed to try to get that ruling out, if tariffs are overruled saying that they're illegal, do we have to pay them back? How do companies readjust if we do pay them back? What is the market going to do? Because now we have a new wave of uncertainty. So if something's going to derail this bull run, a negative ruling on tariffs from the Supreme Court will be that X factor. The thing is, we don't know when it's going to come out. What I read is sometime second quarter next year, so we can hypothesize all we want about what is going to derail it. I think that could be it, but we have a long way to go before that ruling comes out, and right now it's earnings. Earnings growth continues. We got a big one next week in NVIDIA.
Yeah, of course, and a few other key names this week as well. Disney, Oklo, Alibaba, but of course, all eyes next week will be on NVIDIA. Do you celebrate NVIDIA earnings? You do one of like the bar game watches the way people do?
I did it once. I did Tesla once back in the day. No. I mean, we'll pick a new stock to celebrate.
There you go.
I think we should celebrate Disney. They have mouse ears they gave out to us.
There we
I have
go.
them in my office. We can go out tomorrow and celebrate that.
We'll have our own party for it tomorrow. The great Jay Woods of Freedom Capital Markets and a CNBC contributor kicking us off here on the broadcast. My man, thank you as always.
Thank you.
Great to have you. Josh will grab your mic. Bobby, you and I are going to head this way and go for a walk. Excuse me, one and all. Thank you very much. Bobby, we're going to start by taking a look at the semiconductor ETF XSD. It's been a while since we talked about it here on the show. Pardon me, my friend. I'm going to use this TV screen right above you. Bobby, we're going to zero in right there on that key number. That is 325. We were talking about it with Jay a moment ago. Chip stocks very much cooling in sessions. This reached as high as 358 2 weeks ago. It is down about 9% since. But this thing started the year. This number 325 all the way down at 251. Semiconductor trade has been very strong, up more than 30% from the start of the year. Earlier today, it did trade back down to its 50-day moving average. The top 10 stocks in that ETF include Intel, Micron, and Rigetti Computing, one of those computing darlings that just reported quarterly earnings after the bell yesterday. All right, Bobby, now we're going to take a look at two NYSE notables here on the day. One a company, one an ETF, pardon me. We'll take a look at one of the strongest performing names in the S&P 500 today. That is Nike, one of the strongest consumer brands out of China's Singles Day. If you're unfamiliar with Singles Days, just envision a month-long Amazon Prime. Nike, one of the key winners in that shopping spree in China, still off its year-to-date highs by about 23%. Finally, Bobby, let's take a look at healthcare stocks on the day, up 2.3%, 7 winning sessions in a row for the healthcare sector, right back to its year-to-date highs. Why is it up so big? Eli Lilly, Johnson & Johnson, AbbVie, UNH, Merck, you name it, is up in a big way today. Still underperforming the broader market so far year-to-date, but up 18% off its year-to-date low water mark set back on May 15th. The New York Stock Exchange's very own Ashley Mastronardi recently sat down with Roger Parody of 51 Talk to talk all of the ways about how the company is tailoring educational curriculums for local markets and its keys to success. Take a look.
51 Talk launched in 2011 with a vision to transform English education in China, and now it has its sights set on the rest of the world. Here to share more is Roger Parodi, 51 Talk's head of strategy. Roger, welcome to the show.
Thanks. Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
What service is 51 Talk providing, and how did it start?
We were first in 2011. We focused on the China market, and we were the largest online English educator in China based on lessons taught. We reached 400 million US dollars in gross billings. Then in 2021, China introduced the double reduction policy, which made us shift entirely to international markets. Today, we only teach outside of China. Our core product is one-on-one English lessons taught to children 5 to 12 years old. We use international teachers, and we use a fully animated curriculum. We expand steadily into new subjects like exam preparation based on local needs. We didn't enter the international markets empty-handed. We had a great product. We had a mature technology platform, and we had stable operations. So that all made us grow from day one as we entered the international markets. Financially, now we stand with gross billings guidance for Q3 2025 of 36.5 to 37.5 million US dollars, and we expect healthy growth for the full year of 2025.
All right, and I understand that localization is key to your strategy. How do you make education feel on the ground in different markets?
Education is inherently local. Different school systems, different holidays, different learning habits. We are building offices in key markets with experienced leaders and train them to our proven methods. We adapt the curriculum to local markets, and we adapt sales and marketing to local markets. We are not a learning software. We are a fully localized education operation in each geography where we actually operate. This on-the-ground approach gives us a high entry barrier. The blend of brand, of local and central expertise is very difficult for competitors to match.
All right, and AI is disrupting education everywhere, and I think pretty much every other industry. What is 51 Talks' take on it, and how are you using it on your platform?
Well, AI changes online education profoundly. It's a great opportunity for our students and for us. We use AI everywhere in our service. We we customize the course, we streamline sales and marketing, we enhance tutoring. We even have products that are fully based on AI tutors where we don't have human tutors anymore. Nevertheless, we place human tutors at the center of our service. It's our AI plus human approach is what students and parents ask us for and pay us for. While others invest build with investor money, we grow with the money that our students pay us every day for the lessons we teach. While others try to build the future, we are building a path to the future, fueled by own cash flow, and we're sure we're going to be the first to arrive.
Roger Perotti, 51 Talks Head of Strategy, thank you so much for joining us at the New York Stock Exchange.
It's great to be here, Ashley. Thanks for having me.
Let's do it, one and all. Welcome back to the show. You're watching Taking Stock live from the trading floor of the New York Stock Exchange. Time now for a few fintech, crypto, and artificial intelligence related headlines for your Tuesday. First up, the crypto majors Bitcoin, ETH, Solana all down multiple percent today in a post-rally profit-taking correction as the market continues to consolidate a bit. Next up at this hour, new financial documents show Anthropic could reach profitability by the year 2028. That would be well ahead of OpenAI to highlight sharply different strategies in the race to monetize artificial intelligence. And finally, Beijing is accusing Washington of seizing 127,000 Bitcoin from a Chinese mining pool in what it is calling a state-level hack. It's a claim that the U.S. administration denies, saying the funds were part of a criminal investigation. All right, join us now here on the show on the trading floor is Min Do. He is the COO at Animoca Brands. Very excited to have him at the New York Stock Exchange and on the show as well. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So let's start first and foremost with a bit of an introduction to the work you and your team are doing at Animoca.
Yeah, Animoca Brands is a broad blockchain ecosystem player. We started out as a gaming company, but quickly evolved into NFTs and tokens. And so we make money in a few different ways. We have an advisory business. We incubate our own blockchain projects. We also invest very actively in the blockchain space. Those three businesses have a lot of synergy together, and that's what Animoca Brands is today.
I love the general conversation over digital property rights. Talk to me about what that phrase means to you and the team, and what more about where we are in the ongoing roadmap of digital property rights you want our viewers to understand a bit better.
Yeah, digital property rights really at the end of the day starts with, from our perspective, identity and then assets. And so identity is where we focus around at the user level. We see the world as kind of, I guess without being too extreme about it, digital serfdom. So the average user, you have all of your identity with your Google, your Facebook, those kind of accounts, and they control your whole digital identity. And so you've heard about kind of Instagram influencers getting deplatformed, that type of thing. That's really what we're focused on at Animoca. We believe that long-term kind of digital rights is going to be a very important part of the ecosystem. As you grow your digital footprint, your identity and your assets need to follow with you. So at some point, as blockchain reaches mainstream, our hope is that users will be able to take all of their assets and all of their identity with them wherever they go in the digital world.
How is the company right now balancing building games versus investing in blockchain startups? I know that Animoca is really involved with a lot of things at the same time. How do you kind of split and prioritize what to focus on?
So Animoca is still active in the gaming space. We have a subsidiary, division called Animoca Studios, where it houses all of our gaming assets. But I would say our core focus today is really on the wider blockchain ecosystem. The number one thing, as I mentioned, that we're focused on is identity. We have a project called Mocaverse. The token ticker is MOCA. And that's really like our core play in terms of making sure that users really can develop their identity online, and that identity can travel with them across multiple kind of, internet properties.
Yeah, man, talk to me about the biggest regulatory changes that you've seen in your general landscape in 2025, and I wonder from where you're positioned, what do you still see as being among the biggest regulatory hurdles for next year, 2026?
So obviously, the administration change in the U.S. has made the regulatory landscape in the U.S. A lot more clear. Genius has come through. We're waiting on clarity. I think clarity is going to be a very meaningful piece of legislation for companies like ours that deal in particular, fungible tokens and NFTs. So we're very excited about that potential development. We're excited about the development that we're going to see in Europe with the MiCA legislation. That's come through. We are actually launching our first MiCA-compliant token in the coming weeks with a company called OneFootball, which is the largest soccer app in Germany and in most of the European countries. So this is a real company with lots of revenue and 100 million plus users, and we're going to bring a token live with them, compliant, BaFin regulated, all of the above. So we see the regulatory landscape clearing up for cryptocurrencies and digital assets quite meaningfully obviously in the past 12 months and then going forward 12 months. And different jurisdictions in Asia are also moving quickly to try to catch up.
Yeah, now that the federal government's open, maybe they can now get Clarity Act a little bit back on the table soon enough.
Yeah, we hope so.
We hope so. We all certainly do. Men, thanks a lot for being here. It's great to have you. You're welcome back anytime.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
All right, folks, don't go anywhere. Much more Taking Stock is coming up here live from the New York Stock Exchange, including the latest on startups, raises, and rounds, and an interviewer with the bell-ringing team from Academy Asset Management. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the broadcast. You're watching Taking Stock live from the trading floor of the New York Stock Exchange. Time now for what is always my favorite part of the show, not just talking with amazing guests, but especially guests who just rang the closing bell. Say hello to two of those gentlemen, Seth Rosenthal and Chance Mims of Academy Asset Management. Guys, great to have both of you here.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks,
thanks for having us.
Thanks a lot for taking the time. First of all, tell me about the bell ringing experience. I mean, this looks awesome. You brought an amazing group down here today for Veterans Day. What was the experience like for you guys?
Absolutely magical and incredible, all the enthusiasm down here, especially in celebration of Veterans Day. Having a lot of military veterans down here on the stock exchange floor, yelling, screaming, having a great time. It's always a blast.
Yeah, Seth, talk to me about how important it is for you and your team to be here, not just on any day, but a really special day like Veterans Day.
Yeah, given our mission to mentor, hire, and train military veterans, it's a really unique opportunity, and we will take that anytime to celebrate in honor of Veterans Day, but also just being here. There's just so much history here at the bell ringing. It's just awesome to be here.
What are the core values behind that mission, behind Asset, that you want people to know, especially as it pertains to your work with veterans?
So our mission is to mentor, hire, and train military veterans. We have a 50% veteran on the team, and so we think about those skills that they have as veterans passing really well into the asset management industry. Integrity, teamwork, working well under pressure, making decisions with imperfect information. We're able to bring those folks in, and they're able to kind of hit the ground running.
Chance, what is the kind of feedback you hear from veterans who are interested in maybe getting into the world of asset management? They want to learn more about finance. What are they coming to you in terms of things that you feel like you can uniquely help them learn?
Yeah, well, first of all, it wasn't that long ago that I was getting out. I'm a U.S. Navy veteran, and I remember going through the struggles of what am I going to do? What does it mean, my resume in the military, how that translates over to the private sector? And so what we really bring is we understand the skill sets that a military veteran has. And so a veteran getting outside of the military for the first time, looking for their first job, we know what they're good at. It doesn't always translate over to the civilian world because people don't understand with their background. We understand that. And also the culture, bringing men and women into a culture that's similar to the military in the fact that we take the best of military culture and the teamwork, the camaraderie, and instill that in our company. And it's like 1 + 1 = more than 2. It's, any company would want to hire a veteran and have that culture improvement inside their firm.
What are some of the biggest challenges, the biggest headwinds that a lot of veterans have when they get out of the armed forces and they're looking for a career along the lines of what you guys provide?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it's been pretty incredible what Wall Street's done. It's been pretty incredible what corporate America's done. They've really turned, when we started our firm, it was a 37% unemployment rate of post 9/11 veterans. That is now a lot better unemployment rate. Things are a lot better. Now I think it's more underemployment, where again, the corporations or the private sector doesn't understand their skill sets and how that translates over to the private sector. That's where we see a lot of work still to do, and we're going to do that. Every veteran that contacts us, we help them out. We're going to point them in the right direction. Can't hire them all as a small company, but we're going to point them in the right direction, or hire them here at Academy.
Yeah, Seth, talk to me finally about what you want more people to really understand and take to heart on this Veterans Day, as we thank members of our armed services every day here at the New York Stock Exchange, but today in particular.
It's such a special day. We're here to be thankful for those that have raised their hands to defend our freedoms. And, Chance and the rest of the team, we can't thank them enough. And we thank not only the veterans at our firm, but also the military veterans around the world that have done that for us.
Absolutely. Thank you for your service to this country, and a very special thanks to all the members of the armed forces, past and present, who are part of your great firm. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here. All the best for Veterans Day, of course.
Appreciate it.
Folks, don't go anywhere. Much more Taking Stock live from the NYSE coming up after this.
Welcome to FinTech TV. We're coming to you from Las Vegas, Nevada at Money 2020. And today I'm joined by Yi Liu, who's from Gusto Embedded. Yi, great to have you here. Thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So tell me a little bit about your work and what brings you to Money 2020 this year.
Yeah, so I work for Gusto. We do payroll, benefits, and HR for small businesses. We serve over 400,000 small businesses today. And for my role, I'm the general manager for Gusto Embedded, which is a subset of Gusto. And what we do is we enable any third party to incorporate and add payroll to their software in order to give their small business customers an all-in-one solution. And so we're very familiar with embedded fintech. And the reason why I'm here at Money 2020 is really to engage with all of our partners that are also in this space.
Yeah, and when we think about small businesses, we know that they are not only stretched for time, but also resources. So how are you helping these small businesses?
Yeah, so small businesses, they have so many things going on and they don't want to think about the back office workflows. What they want to do is, do the thing that they started the business in the first place, be that best flower shop or be that best spa or salon owner. And so our goal is really to help small businesses obfuscate and remove all of that complexity from their general workflows. And a lot of times with small businesses, they have just so many different disparate software that they're working with, from time tracking to payroll to payments to accounting. And so one of the things that we are doing at Gusto Embedded is really to help connect all of those pieces and to meet small businesses where they are, to be able to give that all-in-one solution for them in order to have them have all of their information in one place so things are integrated and they can really have a seamless customer experience for payments, payroll, accounting, etc.
Yeah, and when it comes to where you see fintech actually evolving in the upcoming years, what does this mean in terms of products as well as innovation?
Yeah, so, one of the biggest pain points of small businesses is cash flow management. And we're not talking about, getting huge loans. The majority of small businesses out there are not AI startups trying to raise the fund.
Yeah.
And so most of the small businesses, actually 1 in 3 small businesses apply for loans, but they're not applying for those big, checks. What they're trying to do is really hold them over on the day-to-day. So from payroll, which is one of the biggest expenses of small businesses, to payments and paying their vendors. And so they need sometimes a loan to figure out, can they pay their employees this week before they can get paid by their customers next week. And so one of the things that we are thinking a lot about at Gusto is how do we help solve that problem of cash flow management and really help small businesses build resilience, reduce risk, and expand their operations. So a couple products that we just launched. One is Gusto Money. And so that's really to help with the cash flow management aspect of things and to help them make financial decisions better. So it includes bill pay. It also includes invoicing, which allows them to accelerate their revenue. And then lastly, we also have a payroll bridge product, which is a line of credit to help small businesses bridge that gap and manage their ups and downs.
Well, Yi, great talking to you here at Money 2020 in Vegas. Thank you so much for making time, and thank you so much for sharing all of your insights with us.
And thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
My pleasure.
Thanks for watching Taking Stock. We'll be back live here tomorrow from the New York Stock Exchange with a whole new show. Have a great day, and we will see you then.